Triple H is trying to stop Vince McMahon's creative changes. Elsewhere, an NXT Champion made his Raw debut, and a WWE title match has been added to MITB. It's all in the wrestling news. Hello everybody, Jack and Fraser here. A surprise Tuesday lineup for everybody. Whoa. Triple H is trying to stop these Vince McMahon creative changes. That's because last week it was reported, of course, in the wake of SmackDown, that Vince had quite a hand in the show, and that Triple H was said to be very frustrated with that.
Yeah, he made quite a few changes. We saw on SmackDown many advertised matches. There was 3 of them before the show. None of them took place.
Right.
He full on messed up that pie. But yeah, Triple H trying to stop Vince McMahon's creative changes. Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer confirming Fightful's reports that Nick Khan and Triple H were frustrated with Vince McMahon's last second changes.
Yeah, Meltzer said that people are trying to figure out a way to prevent Vince from making these changes, but obviously that's easier said than done, as he has the final say. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation. At first I was surprised when this story came out, because remember the stories when Vince came back for that one episode just after WrestleMania?
The great night after WrestleMania show, Raw after Mania. Oh my God, what an amazing show that was.
And there was reports emerging that backstage Triple H had, this is like shortly after a big speech, like nothing's going to change, it's all going to, and then Triple H literally had his chair taken by Vince. He was sitting in his chair. So I was a bit skeptical, but if what Fight for Land Meltzer are saying is true, then it does seem to be true that Triple H is trying to circumnavigate what Vince is doing.
Yeah, trying to go around him and trying to find a loophole to allow Triple H to still have control of the show, but not have Vince being like last minute, right, it's going to be all changes and changes and changes, because it's like Vince did take a back seat. It's Triple H's job. It'd be like, I don't know, one of us coming in and stealing everyone else's job.
This is like the Baratheons and the Lannisters. Chaos is very much a ladder in WWE.
He knows his Game of Thrones.
I've not watched Succession, but that would have been a more timely one, I think.
It feels very McMahon-y, Succession.
Okay, fair enough. Vince apparently did have his fingerprints all over Raw, according to PW Insider. They say Monday Night Raw will have a lot of Vince McMahon fingerprints on the show, much like SmackDown, and it probably did. While Vince has been remotely influencing WWE programming since WrestleMania 39, the belief among some that PW Insider have spoken to is that influence is likely to grow in the coming weeks and months as this Endeavor acquisition becomes a reality.
It's kind of worrying that they're saying it in the coming months that he will get more control over the show, and it seems to be like we're going to look back on this time in WWE with Triple H in charge as like a very, very small era.
Yeah, which would be a shame, because I think obviously everything is subjective in terms of the quality of a wrestling show, but I think the majority would certainly agree that Triple H's recent stint as head of creative was an improved one over what WWE had become in the latter days of that Vince McMahon regime before he came back. Yeah,
I think that's very fair to say that it's definitely improved. It feels a bit more coherent, a bit more like cohesive in terms of the whole picture for WWE. The storyline just makes a little bit more sense. Vince having a bit more power going forward and a bit more control over the creative. We've seen him already make quite a few extensive changes. We saw, I think it was 2 weeks ago now on Raw, he changed up the whole first segment. And admittedly, it was a great segment to start off with Finn.
That was all right, but a lot of the time when these Vince changes are reported, or when it's one of those weeks where it's like massive changes made in the hour before Raw has gone on air, that is normally when these changes seem to be made with, I think the chief characteristic of a lot of those Vince changes is a lack of continuity and a lack of kind of respect for the foundations that Triple H has laid in the weeks before that, and he's gone, no, get that out. Elsewhere, though, let's talk about last night's Raw, because an NXT champion made their Raw debut.
You're a big NXT fan, Jack. You excited to see Carmelo Hayes?
Well, Melo don't miss, Fraser.
Melo don't miss, and Melo is money.
He is money.
He absolutely is money. Well, reigning NXT champion Carmelo Hayes made his Raw debut last night. He appeared ringside when Seth Rollins was talking and made the save for Seth when Balor attempted to hit him with a steel chair. This made a matchup for later in the show, which saw Balor unfortunately get the pin on Hayes, but it makes sense because it's Balor. He's in a world title match this weekend.
I would have maybe liked them to have protected Hayes in a way and not had him take a clean pinfall loss.
Yes,
but at the same time, it does follow on from last week's story on NXT when Rollins came down to NXT and made friends with Hayes in the locker room.
And they were buddies now.
We're friends now.
It's like, oh my God, it's like Seth's in the room with me.
I'm just stealing Matthew's Rollins impression there. Have you ever played Banjo-Kazooie on the N64? Yeah. Matthew says that Rollins sounds like Gruntilda, the witch character. Bear and bird, all that.
Just a little, he does actually.
Yes. After Raw, Hayes tweeted, debuted on hashtag WWE Raw. Gotta let it sink in. Dream come true. Win or loss, still him. Less so than if you'd won, but that's okay. Yeah. Tonight on NXT Gold Rush Week 2, Carmella Hayes defends that NXT Championship against the King of Banter, Baron Corbin. Big Banter Baron Corbin.
I think having him appear on Raw right before a big title match on NXT actually makes it a bit more unpredictable on NXT, because it's like, well, they've called him up preliminary and like he's had a match there, so he might actually lose the belt if they want to move him up properly.
Right, I think he's probably still the favourite in that match with Corbin, but
Baron Corbin's my favourite.
Well, exactly, but who better to be kind of a heel champion of NXT than Baron Corbin? He would be saying, I'm too big for this, you're all crap. They're all
indie flippy floppers, and I'm Baron Corbin, and he deserves that title. But I'm actually excited to see what he does if he does get the belt in NXT, because he's one of the most underrated people in the entire company.
Yeah, he's great. He's good. And to see, that was actually one of Ross's unpopular opinions.
It was. You can see that on our TikTok and our shorts right now. Go and have a look at the rest of them. You can't wait to hear what he says.
I'm outside in mine. I've got my sunnies on.
Oh, there's a bee.
There is a bee in one of them. Look out for the bee. There's also a near collision of two cars that I can see, but that you, the audience, will not be able to see. But I go,
Keep
it's
an eye
okay.
on that one.
There's been, oh my God, I got a scooter into work today, and a car, I got road rage for the first time.
Mad lad.
A car pulled out in front of me and then parked up. And I thought, it's pulling out in front of me, I'm a scooter, I'm slower than the car. But then the car just slowed down and I went past him, what are you doing? And he shouted back, and I shouted back at him, and then I carried on and thought, I'm turning into my dad. That's a true story. The title match has been announced for next week's Raw, because after losing at Night of Champions in squishy, squashy fashion, Natalya has issued a rematch to Rhea Ripley for next week's Raw.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that, Natalya?
Well, she attempted a rematch with Rhea Ripley on a recent episode of Raw, but got attacked before the match even started. The story here is very much Natalya trying to prove that she belongs.
Yep.
I thought it was going to lead to a gimmick change, because she did a promo shortly after that loss at Night of Champions where she went, well, being myself hasn't helped me out so far, maybe I'll have to change who I am.
So what she needs, and the secret to her success, is bringing back the farting gimmick.
No.
That is the one thing that will really elevate her in the women's division after 13 years of being on the roster, maybe a wee bit longer. But yeah, I think this is another easy victory for Rhea Ripley here, right, on Raw.
Maybe they'll have Natalya have a few counters that she's learned, or maybe they'll just have her get squashed again.
69 seconds again.
Oh my God.
I mean, it would definitely push Rhea as sort of like this dominant champion. Like, it wasn't a fluke.
They can't do that. You can't be serious, Jeff.
I think they will. Rhea's. There's no way that Rhea at this current point, with how much dominance she's got over the division, is going to have a competitive match here.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. Well, not unfortunately, because it's fun and funny. But unfortunately for Natalya. A title match has also been added to Money in the Bank. Gunther will defend the Intercontinental Championship this Saturday against Matt Riddle. The challenge was made by Riddle on social media and was responded to on Raw, with Imperium beating him down. Gunther then accepted the challenge, and they will meet on
Saturday in London. I'm going to be there in the crowd cheering on my boy Gunt. Yeah, big fan of me and him, just best mates, busy mates.
Who are you going to be cheering on in the Money in the Bank ladder match, the men's one?
The men's one? LA Knight.
Yeah. I just hit the microphone.
Yeah. It's got to be LA Knight. However, there's a big show. There's going to be a lot of people in there. None of them have been world champions. Yeah. You're all right. You punched the microphone. Right. I think there's a good chance Damian Priest walks away with the briefcase.
My two faves.
I think Logan Paul's got a very good chance.
Ooh.
I think the opportunity to have him on red carpets at big media events with the Money in the Bank briefcase, it's too much of an opportunity to pass up. But I think LA Knight might have it for the men's match.
I will run down the rest of the card as well. We've got the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus. The women's tag team titles are going to be on the line. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler unified the belts with the NXT titles recently, defeating Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. They will face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Liv's back.
Yeah. Making a big return on Friday, just this past week, to challenge for the titles.
Yes. Rollins will defend his WWE World title, as we know, against Finn Balor. Cody Rhodes will take on that devious little Dommy Dom Mysterio.
Yeah, and he'll have Pharaoh by his side.
And also, what?
Pharaoh's back.
No, he's not.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Pharaoh's back.
He's flying to London.
He was on Raw.
Oh, right. Don't bring the dog to London. Come on now, Cody. That's a long journey. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, of course, as well, will take on the Usos in the Bloodline Civil War.
Yeah, it's a very exciting show. We've got a lot of content planned for Money in the Bank, so stay tuned all week for that stuff. We'll be down in London, so if you see us about, make sure to say hello. We'll be doing lots and lots of fun stuff.
Yeah, and well, I'm trying to join in. I'm not down.
We'll Skype you in, we'll FaceTime you, and you can hang around.
I'll be here doing what happened at Money in the Bank, of course. We'll have all the usual content that you'd expect from the weekend as well. And I believe some sort of predictions contest as well. I'm assuming, I don't know this for certain, but I'm assuming it's between Adam and Andrew.
Adam and Andrew will be your WWE live predictions team and reactions team for this weekend's Money in the Bank.
Fair enough.
It's going to be good fun.
Thank you very much for watching this news video. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and have a good day.
Yeah, see you.
So we'll be back with more wrestling news later on this very channel. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.